the Trump campaign will provide evidence that shows the accusers of the last few days of Donald Trump have fabricated their stories. Do you have any more insight into what that evidence may be?
No, I do not have any insight into that, although I do have common sense. And, you know, for instance, if somebody's sitting next to you in the first class section of the airplane, there are stewardesses, there are other people around, and there's this gigantic armrest. What happened to all those things? I really look at the way that these things have been brought up, and as you know, a week or two, I predicted that this was going to happen, and that they will keep coming up with stuff to try to take your eye off the ball. The ball really is about what's happening to America. That's why 2 out of 3 Americans are concerned. And what we're engaging in is exactly what happens to pinnacle nations historically before their fall. They take their eye off the ball, start engaging in things that really don't matter that much. Not that, you know, sexual language and abuses is not important, but when you're talking about the train going off the cliff, you really need to deal with that first. The other thing is done is fiscal irresponsibility.
Dr. Carson,
let me just finish these 3 points, please.
You get 2 points. I'll let you get to your second point. You got to let me respond to the first point so we can do this in a rational way. So on your first point, though, you say the train's going off the cliff. The character of the conductor matters, though, does it not? Nations rise and fall based on the quality of their leadership, based on the character of their leaders. Character does count, yes, does it not?
Yes, yes, and the conductor needs to make a decision. If there's a fight going on in the coach car and the train's going off the cliff, which one is he going to do? That's a good conductor. The second point is fiscal responsibility. Nations, pinnacle nations, before their fall, they become fiscally irresponsible. We see that time after time. And then the third thing is they accept corruption in the highest levels as normal. Right. It seems like we've read that playbook and we're ready to go off that cliff.
But fiscally irresponsible, Donald Trump's economic program actually leads to larger debts and deficits in the future than Hillary Clinton's, does it not?
It depends on which economist you want to look at, but let's throw the economists out and let's use common sense.
Well, let's use math.
And let's look at common sense. From 1850 to 2000, our economy grew at an average rate of 3.3%. Since 2000, it's grown at less than half that, for the most part. Now, they say it's the new normal. There's nothing normal about it. What we've done is impose enormous restrictions on people with all of these regulations and had a tax system that is not conducive to entrepreneurial risk-taking and capital investment. You know, we have historical evidence that shows what works and what doesn't. And then people say, well, when you cut taxes, when Bush cut taxes, the deficit went up. Of course it went up because we got involved in 2 wars, which I didn't agree with.
Catty K here, you just said throw the economists out. That really smacks of something that happened during the Brexit campaign in the UK when one of the Leave campaigners said we don't want
such a great job of helping us to get into good condition. That's why I throw them out.
It's kind of anti-elite idea that we don't want experts telling us about the economy. Since Brexit, of course, sterling has tanked and it's been a problem for the British economy. So perhaps having experts telling us about the economy is not such a bad thing after all. I want to push you on this allegations of sexual abuse, because you seem to be suggesting this morning in this interview with your description of the first-class cabin and in previous interviews that these women are lying. The real reason that women who have been sexually abused don't come forward to talk about their stories is precisely this, that all too often they are accused of being liars. Are you saying that these women are lying?
That's your characterization, because you need to characterize it that way to try to make me the bad guy.
No,
but here's the fact.
No, you just said it's a question. You were describing a first-class cabin where there was an army.
Stop. Hey, can you turn her microphone off, please?
No.
Turn her microphone off so I can talk.
No, it's a simple question. Yes or no? Do you believe these women are lying or not? Nobody's trying to paint you as a bad guy. We just want an answer. Straight talk.
It doesn't matter whether they're lying or not.
Of course it matters.
What matters, listen, it doesn't matter whether they're lying or not. What matters is that the train is going off the cliff. We're taking our eye off of that,
No,
and we're getting involved in other
Dr. Carson,
issues
of course
that can
it
be
matters
taken
whether
care
they're lying,
of later.
Because if the campaign is saying, and you are suggesting that they are lying because this possibly couldn't have happened because of the way that first-class cabins are designed and their air hostess is there, which is implying that you think they are lying, that they're not telling the truth, then that's a huge issue.
Okay. Here's what we need to be thinking about. I love the fact that all of a sudden you want to talk about morality in our country. I would love us to bring back our Judeo-Christian values and begin to teach those things and emphasize them at a time other than a political election. Let's do that. But right now, the train is going off the cliff.
Are they not relevant?
You've got to understand that.
Dr. Carson, you definitely know how bruising a primary battle can be. But the entire time you ran for president, you were not accused of a sexual transgression the entire duration of your race, except perhaps by Donald Trump, who referenced you somewhat as a pedophile in a completely unfounded and ridiculous statement. What does it say that there are 1, 2, 3, 4 multiple accusations about Donald Trump, and you didn't have a single accusation like that against you?
Again, not the important issue. It's like hitting against a brick wall, getting people, and particularly people in the news media, to understand how much trouble we're in. Look at what's happening to the future of our children. We got a almost $20 trillion national debt, a fiscal gap of $200 trillion.
Carson, 50% of the electorate are women.
You think about what's happening with our borders. You think what's happening with our jobs. You think about what's happening with education. You look at all the division that's going on in our country. A house divided against itself cannot stand. It's like you need to shake people and say, look,
you
folks,
said something
we
that was fascinating.
These are not Republican or Democrat issues. This is America we're talking about.
You wanted to talk
Get it through your thick skulls.
Yeah, my fold's not really that thick. I think Judeo-Christian values should apply not only when we're not in the midst of a campaign, but I think it should apply in a campaign. You said, let's just push the Judeo-Christian ethics to the side during the middle of the campaign. Let's talk about it later. Shouldn't they apply right now as much as usual, as much as at any time?
Why is it that you people in the media like to take something that someone said and then try to recharacterize it as something else so that you can then come back and say, this is what he said? Why not just listen to what I'm telling you?
I am listening to what you're telling me, and you can go back, and the great thing is we have transcripts and we have tapes, and you said we shouldn't focus on Judeo-Christian values right now. It's on the transcript, it's on the tape. Do you think Judeo-Christian values apply during campaigns or only after campaigns?
Now, let me tell you what I actually said, and I'm glad it is on the tape.
I am too.
I said I would love for us to engage in a conversation on Judeo-Christian values, and I would love for us to bring morality back. And we need to do it at times other than a political campaign. But we're not doing that. Right now, what we need to do is concentrate on the reason that 2 out of 3 Americans feel that our country is on the wrong track. In the media, the reason that you are protected by our Constitution is because you're supposed to be objective and on the side of the people and helping them. When you take sides, it is absolutely distorting to the original
What side have I taken, Dr. Carson? I'm just curious, because I'll tell you what, Hillary Clinton people think I'm on Trump's side, and Trump people think I'm on Hillary Clinton's side. I'm so confused. I don't know what side I'm on.
Let me ask you a question. Do you believe that your network is unbiased?
I don't believe any network is unbiased.
All right, then you have just confirmed what I said. You need to be working toward that goal.
No, I haven't.
Don't just capitulate to the fact. Don't just capitulate to it.
There aren't robots running any network. I mean, there is a point of view at Fox. There's a point of view at CNN. There's a point of view at MSNBC, with the New York Times, with the Wall Street Journal. I mean, and I'm smart enough to read all of those and filter through it. I'm sure you are too, right?
Well, how about you become the champion for the people and start
I am
trying
the
to
champion
be
for the
very
people, sir.
objective.
Doctor,
I am, and
All right.
that's why we let Democrats and Republicans come on, and we consider this to be a safe zone, and we don't let people talk in
Okay,
talking points.
work on your colleagues then, please.
My colleagues can take care of themselves, but Dr. Carson, we thank you for being with us, you work on your colleagues. Please work on my Republican Party and Elise's Republican Party. We're in trouble. Thank you for being with us.
It's a deal. It's
right.
a deal.
I don't know, Elise.
You didn't answer the question.
Did I misunderstand
That's so
something?
disappointing to me because I heard Dr. Carson speak when I was in college, and it was the most incredible, inspiring speech I've ever heard about his upbringing, about his Christian faith. It was the kind of speech that I said, this man should run for president. And this was, 10 years ago, showing my age.
Right.
I don't know who that man is, the Christian man who does have beliefs, and now he's trying to give these vague talking points about the train running off the cliff and trying to ignore these issues of morality that are so central to the character that we want our president
Right,
to
that's
have.
so central.
if
and it's
character
the question every
counts.
woman is asking.
Yes.
us.
Willie, doesn't character count? And Caddy, doesn't character count now?
Of course it counts.
More than ever?
More than ever.
If you talk about Judeo-Christian values in government, you don't put them aside now, right? I don't understand how.
The question we asked was
talking
a very
about-
simple question. It was a totally non-biased question.
Does he
Think the women are lying?
think the women are lying?
Yes or no?
Right.
he also said in the Fox and Friends interview yesterday that the guarantee from the New York Times to these women was, "We'll give you fame." This is so the
Which
idea
is
that
why there's
the
this-
idea that sexual assault accusers come forward to become famous is so not just preposterous but offensive, as to be. I don't want to say
that's-
dismiss the campaign, but I just think, to Elise's point, Dr. Carson knows better.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, as you say, Elise, as a man who was accused of being a pedophile, like a pedophile, in the primary campaign, I'm doubly surprised.
It just flabbergasts me. I don't see how he can get up and do that. I really don't.
All right, Morning Joe. We'll be back in a moment, and I guarantee you no colleagues, Willie, will be worked on.